Yeah, Hudson George are doing my part 2 on Grenada history of natural disasters, right? Part 1 was about earthquakes. Part 2 is about major hurricanes, tropical storm, landslide, and flood. And I will give the years when it happened. Starting in the 1800s again, which was the 19th century, 1800s. So, and why I'm doing it is, when I was growing up, I always hear people talk about 1921 hurricane and also 1944 hurricane. But when you look on the track record, they had 1921 hurricane and 1944 hurricane. They had them as tropical storms. They didn't really have them as hurricane. So Grenada had 3 real hurricanes already. The others were just tropical storm and depressions. And some of them get the name storm because maybe we get the tail of it. Right? When they start naming hurricanes. So we had Grenada 3 major storms happen in the 21st century. In this century what we're living in now. Which was, the 3 major ones was in this 21st century. And in the 20th century, we had Janet, Hurricane Janet. Took place in the 20th century. Right? Correction. So we had 4 major storms. And all the others were tropical depression. So I'm going to really list the years when those things happen. So starting now, we got a record and we have to look at the time they brought nutmeg to Grenada. Because if you look at it, tropical storms don't really kill cocoa tree. A cocoa tree go bend down and come back up because cocoa root strong. Even though the branch break, they're coming back. Right? But nutmeg is easy to destroy after many years on the ground. You plant it and it's behind. So we're giving the history of what we're talking about wind. One of the powers of nature. So they come like hurricanes, tropical storm, and whatever we want to say. Or storm, or we want to say. So I'm giving a list. In 1886, they record a hurricane. They didn't give the name. 1856. 1856. They record a hurricane, but they never gave it its name. In 1877, they record a hurricane without a name. They record one in 1878. No name. And in 1886, there was also a hurricane. But those days, they didn't used to give hurricane names. So most likely in the 1800s, we had major hurricanes. But we don't know the name. They didn't start to give this hurricanes women name, female name until feminists say, why calling hurricane only in women name? What's about men name? So you could get a hurricane with a man name or a woman name now. So then in 1887 now, they had a tropical storm. That's what recorded. 1889, they had heavy rain. 1891, tropical storm. 1892, tropical storm. 1895, tropical storm. 1896, tropical storm. 1897, tropical storm. 1899, they say was heavy rain. 1901, heavy rain. And then in the same 1901, we also get a tropical storm after. Right? Then in 1905, we get a tropical storm. In 1911, we get rainstorm. Right? In 1918, we get tropical storm. In 1921, which is the one we parents used to talk about, they say it was a hurricane, but it is recorded as a tropical storm. You will hear the elders talk about it. Most of them dead now. You have a few of them alive still. They'll still talk about it. In 1928, we had a tropical storm. In 1933, we had a tropical storm. I heard people talk about it already. The elders talk about that one too. So, in 1938, they had tropical storm too. But in 1944, they had a storm too. So, then now, we go into page 2 on my list. In 1944, I mentioned it. We had a tropical storm. The elders call it a hurricane. And I always hear people say it chop down some nutmeg trees. But my argument is, if you look at the history of hurricanes, the first 4 they recorded in the 19th century, which was in the 1800s, 1856, 1877, 1878, and 1886. They say hurricane. Those days hurricane didn't have no names. But those days we didn't used to plant nutmeg. So I guess Grenada was more sugar cane. We got to use our thinking to understand why, if we get in more hurricane, planting nutmeg mightn't be successful again. So we're looking at that era here. So maybe your sugar cane that time, you get hurricane cane bend down on the ground, not doing it. So okay. So in part 2 now, I'll talk about the one what the elders call 1944 hurricane was a storm. So maybe it was a category 1 storm, right? Then in 1946, they had a rainstorm. They had rainstorms. Storms, they had recorded. So it was more than one. I don't know if it's 3, 4, and 5 or 2, but it says storms. So they had a couple. In 1954, it is recorded we had a hurricane called Hazel. But Hazel didn't make trouble like in 1955 Janet. So Janet is recorded as the one what showed on all them nutmeg tree. Hazel maybe was a category 1 and he break some branch and he do his thing, he showed on. You know what I mean? Alright. 1961 they start naming hurricanes from Hazel time. They feminized hurricane name. So in 1961, we had tropical storm Anna. 63, we had Edith. In 63 again, we had Flora. I had small memory of it, but they were not that bad as what people are saying. 1975, we had a tropical storm. 1978, tropical storm Cora. 1985, we had a tropical depression. 1986, we had Daniela. That's a tropical storm. Tropical storm, 1988, we had Joan. Tropical storm Joan. 1990, we had a tropical storm Arthur. Then we had, in 1995, we had tropical storm Marilena. Right? But it didn't show wrong, there's not much tree. So after Janet, we didn't have a major storm showing on in not much trees. So in 1999, we had Lenny. So Lenny must have maybe a storm and make trouble in the other island. And we got a little tail in Grenada. We shut down a few banana tree and thing. But it didn't make so much damage. We got to look at it that way. Then in 2000, we had Tropical Storm Joyce. 2002, we had Lily. Wasn't major. 2003, in 2003, we had heavy rain. 2004, we had all. Right? Then 2004, which is the 21st century, then we get some wicked stuff. After Janet in 1955, we get some bad stuff. So it took us 49 years after Janet to get a major storm, which was Hurricane Ivan, 2004. Then we get a back-to-back trophy with a hurricane. In 2005, we get Hurricane Emily. But before Hurricane Emily hit us hard, after Ivan, it was in 2004. In the 2005, we also get a tropical depression before Emily lick us hard. So we had a tropical depression in 2005, and then Hurricane Emily come and hit us again and finish damage us from what Ivan had did in 2004. Then in 2007, we had Tropical Storm Felix. 2011, we had two disasters again. But it happened in 2011, twice in 2011. But it was flood and landslide. And also in 2012, we get flood and landslide. 2014, we get landslide and flood again. Then in 2015, we get landslide. And in 2024, we get Hurricane Beryl. Major hurricane. So, okay. He passed in the northern part of Grenada and he hit Carrico and Pitty-Matnick. Because that's where the eye of the storm was located, over Carrico. So St. Patrick is close to Carrico, so we get it up there. So what we have to look at, now is major storms are the ones who destroy the nutmeg. So if it's climate change and we get in these heavy, dangerous hurricanes, like what we get, Ivan, Emily, and now we get Beryl. And Beryl just tapped the tip of Grenada in the nut. So if you hit it straight, you'll throw on all the nutmeg again. You understand? So, government, besides telling people plant up the land, government have to come up with another way as a backup for our economy. So I see where my brethren Unison Joseph said we had 99 storms. Yes, we had a lot of storms, which is true. So in recording of all the storms, and this really just people, every time he pass, they say this God was coming. It's not no God was coming. It's just nature. But if the scientists talk about climate change, if climate change is true, there is a great chance when what should have been tropical storm or just depression might be category 3, 4, and 5 hurricanes. So going back to planting nutmeg again, yes, the soil is for it, but it's risky. Well, Unison Joseph said coffee is a good alternative here because coffee like mountain. But I remember when I was growing up in Armitage, there was a lot of coffee, Mr. Unison Joseph. But what up, I'm older than you. I know you're from the Guave areas. You have some good land over Guave there. what happened? The people rather the nutmeg because they say the coffee had too much work. Because over Hermitage in Peggy Swim, where the water area is on top of Hermitage, the Peggy Swim area, there was a lot of coffee up there when I was a little boy, and those people who had a lot of land, they plant rows of coffee, and coffee used to rail there, but they say coffee had too much work. The nutmeg is here, you pick it up, you take out the mist and the nutmeg. You separate it. So, I don't know, planting the nutmeg, and if climate change is real, nutmeg could become a risky industry if we continue getting major hurricanes. So, I think the government's supposed to start to do more into the tourist industry beyond the parish of St. George as a backup, but we planting the nutmeg again. So in case we get category 3, 4, and 5, and we could have something like a backup, but we can only rely on the nutmeg alone. But we know the soil is good for the nutmeg. The soil, we have the soil. So these are things we have to look into now. I heard a guy from the Nutmeg Association who was telling people to go back and plant nutmeg. Yes, that is his interest, but we have to think beyond. Now, Japan people used to have a lot of earthquake, and they learned to build houses that could resist earthquake. Right? So, we have to learn to have a backup plan for if we get major hurricanes when we plant the nutmeg. So we need to beef up on tourism all throughout the parishes, including Carriacou. I believe Carriacou could do with a 5-star hotel or some kind of big hotel. Carriacou is a beautiful place. And all we have is internal migration. These are things government have to look into. Then I see on Facebook, because of here, green and yellow, black people trying to put down other black people, how they look. Why is white people as colors, all kind of old names. I see black people calling black people those names now, all because of politics. So I think we're getting stupid. We have to stop that. And our Calypsonian and them must stop singing negative things about people because of politics, yellow and green. Because when the politicians do it, then the people in the green and yellow go start cussing one another this way. And until Grenada is a place, nothing bad do happen here, but maybe one day somebody might take it personal and they might hurt somebody who try to belittle them. So I think we should stop using our political differences to make our own black brothers and sisters look bad. Because we learned this nonsense from the racist European, and now we trickle down into our politics. We must stop that. If you are a man who have same political views, and you can't have a conversation with them, well, why? It don't make sense. You're trying to belittle them. It doesn't make sense. We are all black people. We are sub-Saharan African, the strongest people on earth, the most abused people. Right? Arabs abuse us in slavery. Europeans abuse us in slavery. So the Arabs and the Europeans abuse us and they give us the religion. Now you in Grenada now, you so brainwashed by the image of Jesus Christ. When you see a black person doing good, you want to bring them down with some kind of negative thing about them personally. We must stop that too. But anyway, I just give a history of major hurricanes, and if we're going to continue to get major hurricane, if it's climate change, the nutmegging industry could be in serious trouble. Anyway, this is me, Hudson George. I gone till I come again. These are things we have to address, than we only quarreling about yellow and green, yellow and green, yellow and green. Yellow and green are colors. But we have a business to look after. This is artificial color. It's not a race. And it's not a religion. It's political symbol. I go on till I come again. This is me, Hudson George. I go on.